Thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, wherever you are. So my name is Lillian, and I'm going to just share a case study for Kenya on one of the projects that we collaborated as a team of the members of Joining Forces for All Children in Kenya. That was quite a success last year. So our case study highlights on how we collaborated for children voices in climate action. And this was ahead of the Africa Climate Summit that was held in Kenya last year in September. And why we came together is because we wanted to look at the issues that we wanted to address of children not being involved in spaces of participation, especially on the issue of climate change, which is really a current issue that is affecting everyone as well as children. I'll also share on what action we took as Joining Forces for All Children, as well as then the evidence of what that success of that activity was, and then what were the learning and best practices from our case study. So what did we want to address, and why did we come together as Joining Forces for All Children? We realized that there has been inadequate consultation with children, especially in decision-making around issues affecting them. And of course, one of the issues being the climate change issue. And we felt that because the climate summit, the Africa Climate Summit was being held in Kenya, we thought that would have been a great opportunity for us to really come together and support children to share their voices around climate action and how they would be involved to participate, because it's important to work with children to really understand what the problems and the solutions are and what actions are needed for their positive change, as well as just to ensure that they are also heard, that their voices was to be heard in the climate summit, because there was a gap initially and they were not involved in the program for the climate summit. And so involving them was rather going to be a good way to ensure that they also participate on progress made by the leaders, and just really trying to create an Africa fit for children, even in the current context of climate change. So why did we come together? Being a coalition of 6 biggest child-focused NGOs globally, with really, a focus and a niche on children's issues, joining our forces or collaborating for child participation and just enabling to create a space for them to raise their voices was one of the reasons why we decided to pull together for that activity. We also felt that it was a good opportunity to really leverage all our collective experiences from the various organizations, and also use that collective voice to advocate for the child rights, not just at the national level, but also taking this beyond country level, as well as also just really to work with the children, to implement. Yeah, so I was talking about why we joined forces, as the 6 entities, and we wanted to collaborate just for children to share their voices on the climate action. So as various child-focused organizations, we came together to support the children at the Africa Climate Summit. So, and again, I think I had already shared and said that this was to really create a space for them to air their voices on their views and experiences on the issues that affect them, such as climate change. So what we actually did was to basically consult with various civil society organizations. We also did collaborate with the regional team of Joining Forces, because this was an Africa summit, and we felt that if we all collaborated beyond just the country team, then it would give it a little more weight in terms of preparatory meetings and towards the summit itself. So there were various preparatory meetings that were held. We had a concerted effort on the accreditation for the children, especially who were to attend the summit. We also had our technical experts also have safeguarding awareness sessions, and we also had collaboration within the various groups of communications and advocacy, just to really heighten our efforts on those technical areas. We targeted to bring together children from over 100 children from various countries across the continent. Next. Yeah, so what are the key issues that we really wanted to collaborate and support children to highlight? And these issues did not really come from us. This was from the children themselves, really to place them on the climate finance agenda and to ensure that there was prioritization of their rights through a child-responsive climate financing. It was also that, they are provided opportunities to engage in solution-oriented dialogues with definitely the decision makers, and have that space, that child-focused, that space with child-focused agencies to showcase the evidence on any gaps of financing for children and for opportunities or strategies to increase their responsiveness in climate finance, and as well as to just highlight any children-specific needs, not just now in the current, but also in any future climate discussions. Next. Yeah, so from what we all did, and after coming all together, we organized a 2-day event, which was basically a pre-summit to the bigger Africa Climate Summit, where we now commemorate, we brought together all the children and they deliberated on those issues around climate change. And this was around the theme of an Africa Fit for children, and to secure their voices in the climate change discourse. So during the 2 days, there was intense discussions that happened with the children. They were able to articulate the issues around climate change. They were able to share their voices and come up with a declaration, or rather recommendations, that they wanted to go to the Africa Climate Summit for the heads of state and the delegation to deliberate on, and also to really ensure that those declarations, the declaration or recommendations that came out of their own deliberations were also part of the documents or the communique that came out at the end of the summit. So on the photo, you can see these are just selective photos. There was quite a lot of activity. These are just photos from the Children's Summit. We had various country directors from the Joining Forces team in Kenya also joining the children to also share their insight and show solidarity and support for the children as well. Next slide, please. Yeah, so after coming up with the declaration, the children were also invited to a session with Her Excellency Graca Machel of Graca Machel Trust, and they also were able to present their declaration to her ahead of the main summit. Next. Yeah, so at the end of it, it was quite a success. And again, as said earlier, based on the different experiences and, strengths that we all had as various team members from the various JFA organizations, we were able to secure a slot for our young children to also be part of the main climate summit, and the children were able to be given a slot to present the declaration to His Excellency William Ruto, the President of Kenya. You can see that on the photo, and the chair of the Africa Climate Summit. Next. And this was quite a success, I would say, because at least that declaration made it to the communique that was read, or the declaration that was read at the end of the climate summit. Here you can see the children also had an opportunity to have a tree planting exercise that again brought together all the entities of JFA together with the children. You can see in the photo, we also have representatives from the various joining forces organizations. The children also had an opportunity to actually participate in an event that was organized by the First Lady, Mama Rachel Ruto of Kenya, when she was officially launching her first Lady Mazingira Award, which recognizes and rewards environmental protection and conservation through creativity. So this was really a great opportunity to really have children to interact and to share their voices and to share their views also in the decision-making platforms. Next. Yeah, so what were the learnings and the best practices that we could pick out of this case study? We all agree that collaboration is key and critical for joining forces for all children. And if we all, join forces and not just within ourselves as the 6 entities, but also with external partners, this would strengthen a climate of trust and ownership on issues that we champion for. There was a realization that also the joint capacity building of children on safeguarding was great, just to really ensure there was no harm during the activity. Merging of our resources, be it time, be it human resources, be it money, also did lead to great coverage on a larger geographical scale. Collaboration of the various technical teams from the 6 entities was also tremendous, because it also went a long way to aid in planning and implementation of the engagements for the summit. Our continuous peer and joint reviews and reflections during the planning sessions and during the summit was also good, and it also promoted, learning amongst ourselves. And then there was also just a positive attitude towards embracing each other's approaches during the summit. Next, please. Yeah, so yeah, we all agree that if we work together strategically and build on our strengths and skills for each organization as partners, then this helps to engage as well with just various government authorities and also other stakeholders in, securing strategic positions for children to present their issues, like what happened at the end of the summit. Continuous engagement, of course, on climate change issues for children. So this culminated to a continuous engagement and as a build-up into the COP28 event that also took place in Dubai. Again, joining forces agencies operating in the same, coming together to support child participation was also critical, and to create those platforms for them to share their voices. Our joint engagement, again, with various departments of the government and agencies on common objectives was also an enabler for, more government attention and focus on priority for child rights issues that are being advanced by all of us. Next. Yes, and above all that, we had tremendous media coverage, of all the engagements that we had. So these are just some of the highlights from our engagements in media. And yeah, you can see at the end of the day, we also had a story in the media, saying that we should allow children, calling on the governments to allow them to participate in the summit. And at the end of the day, they were given that chance. So that's it from Kenya. I know we have various team members on the call. I would kindly like to just ask if there's any one of them to share. And yes, that's the, all the partners that we worked with during the climate summit, just to make it a success for the children. Thank you. If any of team members from Kenya, you're on the call and I left anything out, kindly feel free to chip in. Thank you so much, Caroline and team. Over to you.